Hey guys, this is PH-Pal Sniffhow here with another deck tech for you from the Pauper Commander. This one is Noggle Ransacker. He has gone through some tremendous changes over the years. He started off as like a joke commander, just to piss everyone off. And then he kind of turned into like a mill one, which I've gotten a mill kill on him once, so that was cool. But then he turned into like a combo deck, and I thought, oh, it's fine. He can combo, he gets rid of the cards in his hand, it's okay. It's not a big deal. But I'm not the biggest fan of combo, so I took it in another direction after that. And now this is sort of a Spellslinger tribal deck. And what that means is he tries to generate as many cards in hand as possible, and then have a big turn with some powerful creatures like Kiln Fiend or whatever, and he just nukes players out of the game. And he's good in that for two reasons, because as you see, when he enters the battlefield, each player draws 2 cards and then discards a card at random. So he's good at getting rid of some cards in their hand. Like, he's very good at getting rid of powerful cards, and it's not my choice. He hurts me a lot too, so it's fine. But normally I have my deck built so I don't take the blow as bad as other people do. So I'm going to start off with a few things about him. Since this is like a Spellslinger deck, you kind of want as much ramp as possible. So I have, for this one, a Wayfarer's Bauble. You know, it's pretty good. Landing at turn 1 is always very good. Feels great. It's also cheap if you want to land out of your deck quickly. It's not bad at all. Then it's the 2-mana ones, which are all good. Star Compass is probably the weakest here, but it's still fine. Visit Signet's great. Mind Stone's always good. You always want as much draw as possible, I think. All good stuff. Not bad at all. Then you got some 3-mana bad boys. And this is where the ramp starts to get real good. You get Pristine Talisman, which is probably a staple almost, especially for blue or red decks because they can't heal as well as the other colors. So you want as much heal as possible, of course. You got Orazka Relic, which is another very good one. I think Noggle doesn't have any problem at all hitting Ascend. So he gets that 3 life and draws very quickly, I think. It's at Locket's great. The long game, you can sack it for 2 cards. Not bad at all. Pretty consistent, I think. Mana Geode is another great one because the Scry is always helpful. Like, I don't think I've had like one situation where the Scry wasn't that good, but I think Scrying is always good, especially for different color decks. He doesn't need it too much because he draws so much, but I think it's good. Commander Sphere, staple of the format, no matter what. Should be in almost every Pauper Commander deck. And for other artifacts, I have Relic. I think Relic's a very standard artifact, pretty great. Should be in most decks as well. You always want to hurt other people's graveyards because graveyard decks can take over in an instant. Like, you got to watch out for that. And also have Library of Lang, which is a great one because with Noggle, you want to make sure you don't lose your cards forever or that discard at random. Like, that's painful. But Library of Lang lets you put the card back on top of your library. And it's good. That's great. And you also don't have max hand size with it. I mean, this is an old card. It's aged pretty poorly, but it's still great, especially with Noggle. So Noggle's whole theme is Spellslinger, like I said, but he has some other ways. He's a nuisance. This guy right here, he is a pain in the ass for other players as well as himself. But he tries to really hurt other players. So to hurt other players, we have some fantastic cards. Impact Tremors. Impact Tremors is a great card if you're flickering a lot, which you will see Noggle does quite consistently. He's very good. Firebrand Archer. That's a great card. Firebrand Archer triggers on all these artifacts I went over earlier and hurts everybody. And it's nuts. 2-mana, 2/1. Not bad. You can get some beats into. Another staple, Thermo Alchemist. We all know about Thermo Alchemist. And as you'll see, there are a lot of instant sorceries in this deck. And he can have some wild turns if you get some nice mana. So those 3 cards are very good at hurting other players and keeping them all low. I kind of like in Pauper EDH, because we start at 40 life and 21 commander damage. You want to get everybody down to a safe level so you can spend all your cards and just nuke one person out, or have enough cards afterwards to keep nuking other players out. So you want to keep them low. Another thing about Noggle is everyone hurts. Noggle hurts everybody. I cannot stress that enough. And to make that a reality, Burning Inquiry, a very, very powerful card, a very mean card. And this card is, if you cast this turn 1, I guarantee you someone might scoop from anger because they're getting rid of their lands in their hand. They're just going to get wrecked. But it's great too because I've had a game where I cast this 4 times in one game, and that's incredible. 4 times in a turn, actually. That's what it was. And that's kind of the goal of Noggle. You either want to get to your spell slinging part of the game, or really just play him as much as possible, which is good because I have a lot of ways to do that. Let me go over them right now. This one, Just the Wind, is pretty great because with Noggle, I can discard it. I hit the Madness. I'll just bounce him back to my hand, or bounce a problem card that's obviously going to be on someone else's field. Great stuff. Displace is obviously a good card. We all know about it. The Flicker combo is here, just because I love flickering Noggle more than anything else. Noggle's my baby, and I want to do him as much as possible in a game. To help that, Unsummon, of course, Curfew. Both incredible cards for their value, cheap mana costs, which is kind of what you're looking for. Because you want to play Noggle as much as possible, or have a big turn with your other spell slingers and just accumulate that storm count really high, which is great. For getting Noggle back, we have other things like Peel from Reality, which is good at getting Noggle and someone else you don't want. Same thing with Aether Tradewinds. Aether Tradewinds is really good because you just bouncing someone's land that they put a couple auras on. That's gonna be painful. That's going to make him wake up with a headache. Other things, Into the Royal, great card, obviously. Kicking it is always good. Depends on what you need to bounce at the time. It's no problem. Jeffrey's Time Twist. This is a great card from War of the Spark that I think needs to start being in more decks. Because exiling any permanent is pretty great. You control, of course. And if it's a creature, which you're going to see later on, I got plenty of these to deal with, putting that counter on can really be helpful. Also, making Noggle 3/2 is cool. It's not really that relevant, but it happens sometimes. Siren's Ruse. Unfortunately, there are no pirates in this deck, so I can't really take advantage of that second part of it. But, I mean, it's just another Flicker effect, and Flicker effects are good in this deck. Because I love fucking with people's draw steps and whatnot. Wind's Rebuke. This is from back when he was kind of more mill-focused. But this card's still good. Same basic effects as the other ones. It is what it is. Each player mills 2. So if you get a nice crazy turn with him, it's always fun. We're going to go ahead and shift to the draw of this deck. Because Noggle needs a lot of cards to get going, I feel like. But like not too many. I feel like he needs just a handful of cards, and he can easily hurt somebody real bad. So to do that, we have obviously Taxian Probe. It's a great card because I can pay life for it instead of mana, so it helps the storm count in a later turn as well. I can look at someone's hand if they have a counter spell and going to mess with me, and it draws a card. That's great. It's perfect. Another great card, the Stinky Fish himself, is here. Mystic Remora. This is the Stinky Thinky of the PDH Pals. It's a great card. Very annoying to deal with. Another very annoying card to deal with is Bigger Brother, Rhystic Study. This card is very annoying. I hate casting this card. It feels awful because it makes the play group hate me and it makes me the target, I feel like. But it's a necessary evil. Probably the best draw spell you ever get. Back to some better draw, or not better, but different draw spells. Treasure Cruise, amazing spell. Because Noggle is very good at filling the graveyard, I feel like. And then you just delve it all away. Obviously, Treasure Cruise, good to go. We all know how good Treasure Cruise is in every format. Family's Epiphany, I'm kind of on the fence about this one. I kind of like it a lot, but it's also very expensive. Like 4 mana, draw 2 is great. Scry 4 is great. I don't know, it's just very expensive, and Noggle kind of wants to stay low to the ground. So I think this is a cut, but I'm not too sure yet. But I absolutely love the art on it, so that's why we're going to go with it. Same deal with this one, except this one I think is much better. Reign of Revelation, instant speed, draw 3 and discard a card. That is great. It helps with some madness effects. It helps with filling your graveyard up. I think it's a great card. Definitely not in that as many decks as I thought it was going to be. I thought this card was going to kind of spike into a lot of decks. But it's okay, it's not there yet. And this card, I'm loath to bring it up, but here we are. Hypothesizzle. I have a nasty history with this card. I have so Hypothesizzle has been in Noggle Ransacker since it came out. So what is this? Guilds of Ravnica. About a year and a half. I have cast it once only, and almost, I think, 6 times, Noggle Ransacker has made me discard this one at random. And it is extremely painful. It hurts me every time I see it go to the graveyard, because this card is actually really good. 5 mana instant speed, draw 2, then discard a non-land, and you just nuke somebody nuke a creature for 4. That's great. It's what Noggle needs, actually, because you want to clear the board too. Unfortunately, I've cast it once in a year and a half, and I don't think that number is going to go up anytime soon. So here are some more, I got some generic creatures to help out too. These 2 are obviously good for the Ghostly Flicker little package I got. I don't know, I think they're also great at getting back some nice kill spells I got later on in the deck. They're just very efficient creatures. Getting back a spell is always good. There's no problem with that ever. And I think by this point, every PDH player knows what Archaeomancer and Salvager do. They're great. Cannot overstate that enough. Pilgrim's Eye, great card. Gets whatever land you need. It's also good to flicker, I think. I feel like block a flyer, flicker it, get a land back, get a land to your deck. Like, that's good. That's not bad at all. This bad boy right here, I don't think he needs no introduction. As people have said, he is the common Crucible of Worlds. I don't know why they printed such a powerful effect. He's a 4 mana 1/4, which is unkillable in PDH. And you put a land from your hand onto the battlefield tapped, or return target land from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped when he comes tapped. So with Noggle, I'm so good at filling my graveyard up and getting rid of those cards that, oh my god, this guy can do some serious value real quick. I love him. I have him in almost like 90% of my decks, I feel like. And every time I draw him, unless it's like late game where the game's about to end, I'm like usually always happy to see him. If he's my opening hand, it's a snap keep all the time. Spellkeeper Weird. This is a great one. The reason he's in it though is because this little guy, Gorger Weird, is also in the deck, and I just wanted to have the brothers together. There's no problem with that. But he's also good. 3 mana 1/4. He's great blocking. And then there's some really cheeky scenarios where you block, he's about to die, and you can sack him, get that spell back you need. Because Noggle really is about holding on to what you need and then casting it if you're in a bad spot, but then casting it again, because you want to do that as often as possible, I feel like. And he's great. I've had a couple games with him. He's had like 1 really bad showing, but like I feel like he's had some great showings also. I'm really happy with him, and I think even as a combo deck he's good too, because you just get back whatever you need at the time. Mole Drifter, probably the best end of the battlefield creature in blue, and I would know because I have the full Kamigawa end of the battlefield cycle built. But this is a 5 mana 2/2 flyer. When he has battlefield, draw 2 cards. That's nasty right there. But he's even nastier because he's got an evoke cost right here. So you can cast the evoke cost, and then go back to what we were saying earlier. Like I'll grab him in response, and just draw more cards. But that's not even the best one. The best one is flickering him in response. That way you draw 4 cards, and he's back on the field, and you have to worry about it. And assuming you have an Archaeomancer, you have flicker back as well. So you're just off to the races, and that's a lot of card draw, and it's incredible. This is a personal favorite card of mine, Whirlpool Rider. I'm a huge fan of this card. It used to be, back when this deck was more mill-focused, you used to transmute Muddle the Mixture for Jace's Erasure, and then you cast Whirlpool Rider. You just get rid of your hand, draw that many, and target someone, and they mill that many. But I have been so impressed with him, just not even in a mill sense, just in getting a new hand completely, that I think he's going to stay in a lot of my decks from now on. He's very good. He's very good at getting rid of some bad hands. And I have a nasty problem. You can ask John about it. You can ask Fred about it. I draw a lot of lands, and it's not my fault. My decks are all 34 lands, and I still will top deck 6 lands in a row. So when that happens, he's great, and he can really, really stem the tide of me wanting to kill myself. Back to the kind of spellcaster guys. So let's get into the real meaty core of the deck. We got Spinehorn Minotaur. That's a great card. 2/3 for 3 mana. If you draw 2 or more cards this turn, he gets double strike. How would I ever draw 2 cards? Oh wait, Noggle Ransacker. Draws 2 and discards 1 at random. So they combo well together. He gets pretty beefy when I go to when I get to the spells of the deck. So he's very good generically. Thunder Drake, big beefy boy, 4 mana, 2/3. When you cast a second spell each turn, which really isn't that hard in Noggle, because Noggle has so many low-cost spells and just can stay low to the ground. He gets a counter on him. And it's each turn, too. So if I have enough mana to cast stuff on someone else's turn and my turn, like, he's just going to keep growing. And, like, that gets scary eventually, man. That's good. He's a flyer, too, which is always sweet. This one is probably a cut for the deck, but I'm actually really happy with it. Keymaster Rogue, you can make it unblockable. There can be a turn where you pump it up too with some other spells. But really, the reason I put him in the first place is because he returns a creature to my hand, which is, you know, returning a Noggle. There's nothing wrong with that. It's going to happen again, much to the chagrin of the play group, but it's fine. This is where we're at. Spellgorger Weird. I talked about his brother. He's here now. I'm casting a non-creature spell. There are a lot of non-creature spells in this deck. All the artifacts count. All the spells count. So he grows very fast, very quickly. He's a scary boy, and he's usually a threat to be taken off the board because I have ways to get him through no matter what. I would say the better version of this card, Firehound, it's been around for a while. This one has Trample built in, but it's only instant and sorcery. It's still not that bad. Instant sorcery, there's still a lot of them. There's still plenty of ways to get him huge. And he's definitely a scary guy. Let's go with one of the weaker spell slingers, Sky Theater Strix. This one's pretty, not the best, but it's low to the ground, it's quick, and you cast a non-creature spell, he gets bigger. So if you cast some stuff that doubles up with him, like he can be scary, he can really hurt somebody, and he's so low to the ground, like, do I really want to waste a kill spell on that? Then, you know, they get nuked for a while, nuked for a bit, so yes, you do want to kill that, because he gets scary real quick. Speaking of scary real quick, Burning Prophet. Same set, I believe, yes. Same set, and this is a very good card as well. Non-creature spell, gets +1/+0, and then scries. That is so good. We can't really state how good scrying is in this format, because there are plenty of times where I draw a bunch of lands in a row, and I deal with it in a bad way, but this helps. And it's also great because it gets huge as well. And it's a 3-butt, which are very good. 3-butts are incredible in this format. Jace's Phantasm. This card brings some salt, man. Let me tell you. This is a 1-mana, 1/1 flyer. But if an opponent has 10 or more cards in his graveyard, he turns into a 5/5 flyer. That is huge for that mana. And he has taken off Jeremy off the board twice. And the old version I have of it in my other pile of cards, he has 2 marks on it in the J. So he's done some work. He's killed people off the board. He's great because Noggle's good at filling everyone's graveyard, especially if you go back to what I was saying earlier, which was casting this a couple times a game. Like, their graveyard's going to be full. They're going to lose most of their good cards, hopefully. And they're going to be in trouble because Jace's Phantasm is a beating that needs to be dealt with as well. Good stuff. Let's go ahead and get to the real meat of this deck, which is 2 best probably pumpers in this game, Kiln Fiend and Nivik Cyclops. These 2 cards are scary, let me tell you. These guys get huge. They get terrifying. I'm leaning more towards Nivik's lately. It's a 4-butt, man. It's 1 mana more. You know, it hurts. But that 4-butt's huge. Like, if you just cast a spell on someone's turn, he's a 3/4 or 4/4 and just block. I don't know, he's good. But Kiln Fiend's obviously the best, because if you get him quick and low to the ground, he's scary as hell. We all know the power of Kiln Fiend, but let's look at the cards that pump these bad boys. We're going to go with some nice standard ones. Maximize Velocity and Maximize Altitude. From the same set, both cards are incredible. They're only 1 mana. They can jumpstart, so they can be cast twice in a turn, which is great for, obviously, what we just talked about, Kiln Fiend and Nivik Cyclops. Double up, which is incredible. And haste is really good, and flying is also very good in this format. Until someone puts a whiteout in a deck and they lose flying. I don't know why that would happen, though, but that's how it goes. But haste cannot be overstated, and flying cannot be overstated. If you turn away for a second, flying is going to kill you. And especially with, like, Kiln Fiend. Like, just casting both of these a turn, that's only 4 mana, and that's plus 12 damage in Kiln Fiend. Like, that's horrifying. Or no, that's plus, like, 17 damage. Jesus. I'm not supposed to do math on the air. I'm bad at this. So here, obviously, these 2 are the big boys of the format, of the deck. Let's keep going. Mind Games. This is a pet card of mine. It might be a cut. I'm not too sure yet. It hasn't really shown its luster yet. I kind of like it though, tapping stuff down. I'm kind of looking at that tap target land down. I kind of want to tap some land someone has enchantments on. So I'm getting excited thinking about that. But it's good because, you know, if this is all you have in your hand, you can still buy it back for a bunch in the turn. You still got some big beaters, you know what I'm saying? Or you go back to what we were talking about earlier with Pyrehound and Thunderdrake, and they're going to get bigger as well, which is good. That's what you want. Go here. Let's go back to this one. A great card, Reckless Charge. Haste and 3-0. Like, whew, that's nasty stuff right there, man. That gets huge real quick, especially with these boys. And has flashback too, so you cast it twice a turn. Like, they're in trouble. Not your fault. That's what the deck does. This is another one. Target creature gains flying. It's cheap. It's good casting on your stuff, casting someone else's. It's got flashback. You do what you got to do. It's not bad at all. Casting multiple times is great. Expedite. Target creature gains haste and draws a card. That's good. There's no real need to explain that one. It's good politically too. Someone casts a Crusher. I'll give it haste if you swing at someone else. That's good. That's a good play, man. That always blows out some nerds. Fists of Flame is probably one of my favorite cards in this deck. And for Modern Horizons, which was an incredible set, if you draw plenty of cards in a turn, like if you draw a Noggle Ransacker 3 times a turn, then you Fists of Flame one of these boys, get out. They're getting wrecked. And there's not much they can do about it. Besides, you know, take a big beat. So those are all good, but like the biggest problem with these two is they can get chump blocked forever. The way we can do to prevent that are some powerful cards. Artful Dodge, Distortion Strike, Slip Through Space, and Shadow Rift. All 4 of these cards are nuts. And I mean, like, I think they're horrifying. Artful Dodge, you can cast it twice, which is insane. That's very, very good, especially if you have 2 big creatures. Like, your board is just wild. Distortion Strike, target creature gets 1/0 and can't be blocked and has rebound, so you can do it twice if you get a full turn cycle and your creatures are still alive. Like, all right, I'll swing at this person if you let this alive for another turn, and I'll swing at this other guy too. You gotta try and be political as Noggle because you're usually gonna help one person and hurt the other 2. So you kind of wanna steer on the person you're helping side, just to be safe, you know. Slip Through Space, another very good card. The problem with this one is its sorcery speed. But you have a sorcery too, but you're going to see the next one is very good for that reason. But this one draws a card. It's always good to have. Devoid, it's not really that relevant in Pauper, EDH. There's no like color breaking scenarios I got. It's just a great card. Along with Shadow Rift. This is probably the best one in the deck. 1 mana, draw a card, target creature gains Shadow. Casting this on someone else's creature they want to block with, they're done, man. They're probably going to get real butthurt at you, but that's fine. Because even casting this on Kiln Fiend or whatever is great. You just want to get all that damage in. Like, very, very few people run Shadow in our Pauper meta, which is about 127 decks. I think there's 2 or 3 decks with Shadow in it. So you're not going to be running into this too often. So it's going to be unblockable or it's going to be a blowout. And it draws a card, which is great for Noggle because we've talked about many times, Noggle is great at accumulating card advantage and then blowing it off all at once. You've noticed by all these low mana costs. And I think the best card in this deck, Stealth Mission, probably one of my favorite cards from that set as well. 3 mana, 2 1/1 counters and target creature. That creature can't be blocked. Ooh, that's scary. That on a Thunderdrake, that on a Kiln Fiend, that on a Nivik Cyclops. That's scary stuff, man. And it just gets real painful from there because the counters stay. They're not leaving. That's the benefit of this one. If you cast this a couple times a turn, you're doing all right. You're doing great. So now you're thinking like, I don't know, these cards are good, but where's the protection? How are they supposed to survive? And I'm looking at this now and I'm a little concerned. Noggle only runs 3 counterspells, but they're all very good, obviously. This is a foil Mercadian Mask counterspell. Gotta get that in there because I love it. Arcane Denial, very good counterspell. Probably not that good because you don't want too many people drawing. But it's very cheap, so that's why it's good. Counterspell is the best. And Intervene is probably one of my favorite ones. Counter target spells that targets a creature. You can counter auras with this. You can counter kill spells. You can counter anything your heart desires. It's a very good card. It's very cheap too. 1 mana is, like I've said multiple times, 1 mana is where you want Noggle to be. You want to play him, have some backup, and you know, be safe. So that's all the meat of the deck. Let's go into the lands. Obviously, nothing too interesting here. He runs cycle lands because I've said multiple times, I have a very big problem with drawing multiple lands a turn, and I'm trying to rectify that. And with cycle lands, are pretty good. You know, we get them, cycle them away. Not bad at all. They're also great with Scare Tiller because you cycle them early game. Your graveyard doesn't get nuked, let's say. You Scare Tiller, you just get them back. That's good. Like that's the ideal scenario. I am a huge fan of these two lands. The Pete lands is what we have called them. Where's Pete? These lands are great. They enter with 2 depletion counters on it. You tap it, remove depletion counter. You add 2 mana. These are in the deck to cast Noggle on turn 2. Noggle on turn 2 is going to hurt people's feelings, and that's fine. That's what you want. You want to be that Ransacker. You want to live purely by what you can scavenge. There's not a single thing a Noggle eats, wears, or uses that it did not once belong to another. That's good. That's perfect. That's the Noggle lifestyle. You want them out turn 2. That's why these lands are in here. They're great. I don't know what they were thinking when they printed this card. Mystic Sanctuary. This card is a mistake on so many levels, but it's very good. Let's say you have enough islands, you put an instant sorcery on top of your library. That's fair, right? That makes sense. It's a good thing the other ones of this cycle are just as powerful, right? Thank God. But this card's great. Obviously, put a flicker back on your deck, or any other spell, like I said, putting some like distortion strikes back on top of your deck and just doing them again. Like that's abhorrent. You should feel ashamed of yourself. Obviously, 2-color commander, needs a commander tower. Probably one of the better lands for multiple color decks. What you expect. Grixis Panorama. This one's good with Scare Tiller specifically, and I kind of like this one the most. I'm kind of really, I don't know. I like Evolving Wilds. I like Paramorphic Expanse, but I really feel like these ones are really good because you can do it turn 2, you can do it late game. It's not the end of the world because they're going to come and tap no matter what. But doing it every turn with Scare Tiller is great. And obviously, you know, the three dual colors that you can run, because they have not downshifted the snow-covered ones that are dual colored as well. This says the uncommon symbol, but it's common. I assure you, great stuff. Is it Boilerworks? Obviously, these ones are great because you just bounce that Mystic Sanctuary again, cast it again next turn. It just gets out of hand, of course. This deck runs 8 mountains and 14 islands, which I'm going to exchange these eventually for the Pokemon-themed ones from Theros, because I love how those look. But I really love Noggle. He is easily one of my favorite decks. He's been through a lot of hard times, a lot of changes. He's gone through more changes than I think any other deck on that board has, and he's survived them all. He's gotten mill kills, he's gotten combo kills, he's gotten just burnout kills because you know, Mana Geyser, Rolling Thunder used to be in the deck as well, and he has gotten some severe beatdown kills. And I think he excels at everything he tries to do. The most important thing of that is bothering other players. He's perfect at it. Because when it's Noggle time, he gets the best bite. Thank you for watching. We'll have another deck tech soon for you.